First Chronicles, chapters 1 through 9, give many names. For example, in chapter 1, we're looking at Adam, Seth, Enosh, talking about the generations from Adam to Abraham, which includes the Japhethites, Hamites, the Semites, and speaks of the descendants of Hagar, descendants of Keturah, descendants of Sarah, descendants of Esau in Edom. Hundreds and hundreds of names. The sons of Israel, from Judah to David, sons of Ram, sons of Caleb, sons of Jeremiel, speaks of Caleb's clans. That's chapter 2. Now in chapter 3 we have the generations of David, the kings of Judah, the post-exilic royal line. Now to chapter 4 we can read about the other sons of Judah, the sons of Simeon. Chapter 5 we can read about the sons of Reuben, sons of Gad, hundreds of names. Each person important and valuable for sure. I encourage you to read these. And then we have the half-tribe of Manasseh. Chapter 6, sons of Levi. And it speaks of the temple musicians. Also interesting. These are the ones whom David appointed over the service of song in the house of the Lord after the ark rested there. Now they were ministering before the dwelling place of the tabernacle of meeting with singing, until Solomon had built the house of the Lord in Jerusalem, and they were arranged by their order according to their service. And these are the ones standing in order with their sons. And it speaks of the Kohathites, and on and on. And their brothers, the Levites, also were appointed for all kinds of service to the tabernacle of the house of God. But Aaron and his sons were making sacrifices on the altar of the burnt offering, and on the altar of incense for all the work of the most holy place, and to make atonement for Israel, according to all that Moses, the servant of God, had commanded. And there were more sons of Aaron. And these are their dwelling places according to their walled settlements in their territory. For they were given to them, namely to the sons of Aaron and to the families of the Kohathites by lot. It talks about the giving of the lands. And it speaks of the sons of Issachar, sons of Benjamin, sons of Naphtali, sons of Manasseh, sons of Ephraim, sons of Asher. Chapter 8 talks about the generations of Benjamin. Chapter 9 speaks of a post-exilic genealogy. So all Israel was registered by genealogies, and these were written in the book of the kings of Israel. And Judah was led into exile to Babylon for their unfaithfulness. Now the first ones to dwell in their possessions in their cities were children of Israel, priests, Levites, and temple servants. Some of the sons of Judah dwelt in Jerusalem alongside some of the sons of Benjamin, Ephraim, and Manasseh. And they named many, many sons and gatekeepers. All those chosen as gatekeepers were 212. They were registered by their genealogy in their villages. Now David and Samuel the seer established them in their trusted offices. So they and their sons were in charge of the gates of the house of the Lord, that is, the house of the tabernacle, as guards. The gatekeepers were on 4 sides, east, west, north, and south. Their brothers in their villages were to come for 7 days from time to time to serve with them. For in their trusted offices the 4 main gatekeepers, who were Levites, had charge over the chambers and were treasuries of the house of God. They spent the night around the house of God, for the watch was entrusted to them, and they were responsible for opening it every morning. Some of them were in charge of the vessels of service, that they should bring them in and out by number. Some others were appointed over the furnishings and all the implements of the sanctuary, as well as the fine flour, the wine, the oil, the frankincense, and the spices. And some of the sons of the priests mixed the ointment of the spices. Mattathiah, one of the Levites, he was the firstborn of Shallum the Kohathite, was entrusted with making the flat cakes. Others of the sons of Kohathites and from their brothers were given charge over the showbread to prepare it every Sabbath. Now these are the singers, heads of the fathers' houses of the Levites, who stayed in the temple chambers, free from other service, because they were occupied with the work day and night. These were the heads of the fathers' houses of the Levites according to their generations, leaders who dwelt in Jerusalem. And they list more people here, many names. And then we come to chapter 10. Again, each name is important, each person is important. I encourage you to read God's Word, the Holy Bible. And now in First Chronicles, on chapter 10, which I will read. Now, when the Philistines fought against Israel, every Israelite fighter fled before the Philistines, and the slain fell on Mount Gilboa. But the Philistines pursued Saul and his sons and struck down Saul's sons, Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchishua. As the battle with Saul became heavy, the archers' bows found their target and mortally wounded him. So Saul said to his armor-bearer, "Draw your sword and pierce me through, lest these uncircumcised Philistines come and make a fool of me." But his armor-bearer was unwilling to do it, because he was overwhelmed with fear. So Saul took the sword and fell on it himself. When the armor-bearer saw that Saul was dead, he too fell on his sword and died. Thus Saul and his 3 sons, namely all his house, died together. Now when all the children of Israel in the valley saw that they had fled the battlefield, and Saul and his sons were dead, they abandoned their cities and escaped, leaving the Philistines to come and dwell in them. The next day, when the Philistines came to pillage the slain, they found Saul and his sons fallen on Mount Gilboa. So they stripped Saul, removed his head and his armor, and circulated the news of his demise throughout the land of the Philistines to their idols as well as the people. Then they placed his armor in the temple of their gods, while his head they impaled in the house of Dagon. Now all Jabesh Gilead heard about everything the Philistines did to Saul. So their valiant men rose up and carried the body of Saul and the bodies of his sons Jabesh. They buried their bones under the oak in Jabesh and fasted, mourning 7 days. So Saul died because of his unfaithful deeds against the Lord, because of his failure to keep the word of the Lord, and because he sought to consult the spirit of divination, but did not seek the Lord. So he killed him and turned the kingdom over to David. the son of Jesse.